Good morning, good morning, good morning, everybody. Hope everybody's doing well. Looks like our data is starting to drop, and so is the market. Dropping, dropping, dropping. We've got a new low of year already established. And down we go. Let's see if we can catch a bounce at this 35.41 at the bottom of this squeeze. Let's see, I think that's a second, cool it, there we go. Looks like we are not going to bounce at 35.41. We'll see. Next key level, 3,500, 34.75. That third Keltner sits right at this 34.45. So those would be next targets if we do keep slipping, making a zone down here to get to. We're dealing with a big drop. Let's see, we closed kind of near 35.90. So 3,500 is about an ATR, and it looks like we're pretty much going there before open. So looks like we've got an ATR drop in front of us. Wouldn't be surprised if we don't see a ton of action, just because we are getting down to almost an ATR down already. We could see a little cover pop back to this 35.41, maybe even this 35.71, on a cover pop, and then likely coming back down. We might not even get a cover pop. We might just open close to this 35.41, give it a quick tap, and keep going. After a big drop like this on CPI, it's going to be a little tough, but we just want to watch what happens at key levels, and if we are rejecting and whatnot, we can look for the continuation play further down. And, I'd be waiting for confirmation for any kind of moves to the upside. But we are setting new lows of year, so you never know. Might activate some buyers out there. This is a great time to mention for you folks that maybe aren't dabbling in futures yet. We do have a futures class around here, and a little set of tools that we provide with that futures class, including strategy that we kind of developed around here. Because you don't have to miss this move if you have a futures account, or get yourself funded through TopStep. We do have an affiliate link for TopStep, so that can save you some money. I have been a funded trader through TopStep before, made a good amount of money. I made a few thousand every month that I was doing it. So just a good point to bring it up, because you don't have to be missing this move. And I think actually recently TopStep may have removed their restriction about holding around economic events. It used to be when data drops like this, you can't enter a position until 1 minute after the data. I think they might have taken that rule away. So something to consider for you guys that aren't playing in futures yet. But our CPI data dropped, our continuing jobless claims You can always go to our stock news channel to see what that data looks like. So here, oh, there we go. CPI month over month, 0.4% versus 0.1% previous. Estimate was 2%. We kind of had a foreshadowing of this a little bit with PPI yesterday. I'm not going to scroll up, but PPI was twice the estimate. And now we're seeing CPI twice the estimate. Looks like we came in just a little bit under expectation. Or no, a hair over, sorry. On the year over year as well. Jobless claims going up a little bit. So you can always go to our stock news channel to find when data drops. So on ES today, let's see if we can get a cover or pop back up to either of these two key levels, which could set up a short for the continuation down to these next key levels. I've got more past that. I probably need to get in and add a little bit as well, which won't be a problem, but we do have kind of the next target down. And if this is blue, then it used to be an old POC, so like very old, a couple of years ago, but let's see, let's go around the board. NQ. Trying to stop at that 10,500 psych level. Below that, third Keltner at 362. And then psych level 10,000 below that. Right? Hitting some very big psych levels. Let's see if we can get a cover pop back to this 656.5. Which could set up a short for continuation back down to test this new low. Also keep an eye, if we can get a cover pop there, if we get above it and turn it into support. Not saying that we snap back or really have a reason to rally, but we were really trying to defend some key things, and now we are below those things. We could be waking up buyers. Just something to keep an eye on. See, is the dollar going crazy? Probably. Yep, dollar's going crazy. On to the ready. Oh, come on, load up. There we go. So, they're ready. We've talked about this key 1656.3 is what I have it marked at. We slipped it just enough. Nope, we didn't even completely tap it on this recent low. I think if I go back a little further, we did tap it. Let's go to... Yeah, there we go. So we did get a little bit below it, but that number for me is kind of the neckline of this inverse head and shoulders that send us back up to the mean. And, for the ready, if we can continue to hold this level and bounce off of it, still looking for a recovery bounce. If we start to lose that level, however, this zone that I have marked and shaded goes down to 1613.5, which is now at the bottom of a daily squeeze. So if we do give out this 56 on the ready today, that is the next target. We have the second Keltner at that 1630, daily squeeze starting at 1625, and then the end of that zone at 1613 and a half. So those would be the targets to the downside if we do get continuation and break through this 656. But if it gets defended and defended and defended, and we keep above it and bouncing, wouldn't be crazy for the ready to come back up. I've talked about this zone, and I've shown before, but if you go back on the daily, these are very key wicks around pre-COVID, around after we recovered from COVID and then had some pullbacks. These are all key levels in this zone, and I know it's a big wide zone, but point being, this to me on the ruddy is like we've reset the board back to before COVID, after we recovered on COVID. This is what we could say was the top of the market before we had our big run up and those crazy valuations. So for me, the ruddy, this zone is kind of resetting the board. We can go back up. We can go back down, right? But those are my key levels down. If we can hold this and try and work our way back up to 1700. But like I said, we don't have a real reason to rally right now, especially after the CPI. Jobless claims starting to go up. Maybe that could lend to, we've been seeing headlines around about layoffs and whatnot. Companies going to start trying to save costs by laying people off. If unemployment starts going up, they might stop raising rates or calm it down, which would give us reason to rally, but that's still a month away before we would hear anything about that. So those are my levels on ready. Moving on to YM. Key levels, key levels. We got this 850, we'll call it. This recent low. Just go ahead and mark it. So 28,635 would be the next target down. Let's see if we have a little cover pop to try and look like we're going to push off this 850. But ultimately, if we give it out, keep rejecting it, we can slip down to this 635. The second Keltner is here at 28,553. We have a daily squeeze. It's thin, but it could be enough to give us support at that 28,400. So those are the next targets to the downside. And slipping past that, psych level 28,000, where that third Keltner sits at 862, right? So that's the next zone of support. We've got one little zone here where we can bounce. If we take out this recent low, we've got a zone right below that we can bounce, and if we give that out, we've got the next zone that we can get down to. But let's see, we were tapping 650-ish, let's call it, and now we are almost down 1,000 points, right? If we get to that 635, pretty much down 1,000 points from where we were just touching. Not quite 1,000 from where we closed yesterday. So technically, as an ATR goes from close yesterday, we can slip a little further if we are going to have 1,000 down. So either way, Apple. And just like that, from our zone that we were trying to hold, this 138, 138.8, dumping down pretty much to our next key levels, 132.6, didn't quite get there yet. We are at that third Keltner, 1, 2, 3, and the mean. Usually getting to third Keltner or past it is getting into oversold territory. But if Apple is going to keep slipping, main target is this 131, and I do have that level at 132.6. So this is the next zone to arrive at. 131 is very key. It used to be an old POC. I think it used to be an all-time high at one point. So again, kind of like resetting the board. We could work our way back up. Not saying it happens necessarily today. I know we just got a big dump, and I shouldn't be telling everyone, hey, we could go right back up. It might not happen today, but we might settle down in a number of these zones that I'm covering on each name today and tomorrow, and it could set up, a relief rally, just because we are getting into that oversold territory. But this is the next target to the downside on Apple. And, if we try to work our way back up, it's back up to this zone, right? AMD. Just barely dumping below that 56, which is a big key level. Used to be resistance before COVID and in the recovery. So 56, a big key level. And we haven't really dumped past it that much, even in the market slipping. So 55, 56, kind of key. If that starts to give out, likely going down to 50 as the next target. But if we can hold there, might just work our way back and do this consolidation. Amazon. Yeah, like the dollar's kind of made its move for the day. Can it keep going past our outer shaded region? Yes, but this is kind of typically exhaustion. Keep an eye over here on ES, still setting new lows. Almost to that 3,500. Amazon dumping down through 110 in that second Keltner. Next stop, 105.5, 106, where the third Keltner sits. I'm going to start breezing through these names. If we can bounce on anything, you want to be looking at what we just gave out, what we were just trying to base at 110. We could get a cover pop to 110 and then roll back over. BA. BA. Not even dumping that hard. If it does keep dumping, we have a little bit of a gap to fill here. Down to this 126. So that's the next target. Then 125, 124.5. Where that second Keltner sits. And should BA keep slipping and the market keep slipping, and we give out the second Keltner, then it's down to this 120.5, this 118 where the third Keltner sits. Next target's below. CAT also holding up well, just like it has been. Made that push up with the market and then stayed here while the market rolled back down to these new lows. Should CAT start to give out this 174, come down to this daily 15 and first Keltner near 172. If we keep slipping, 170 psych level, and then about this 168, which was the top of this range before we broke out. So targets to the downside on CAT. But let's see, it could be something they rotate into. CAT and BA holding the bottom of their squeezes. Some of these names, like in tech, totally gave out the bottom of their squeeze, so likely going to be a struggle to get back up. But some of these names are holding up well. Coin slipping back down to this 64 where that first Keltner to the downside sits at the bottom of this 4-hour squeeze. Should it continue lower, next stop 62 and 60, and this recent low at 59.5. Past that, third Keltner sits down at the bottom of a daily and a 2-day squeeze. So even if we do take out and set new lows on coin, we've got big daily 2-day squeezes trying to hold us up there, or support. Google. Down at 94, next stop 92 where the third Keltner sits, and psych level of 90 if we go past that. And I'm, like I said, not going to cover the upside on as I breeze through these. If we can start to get cover bounces, then we're talking back to these levels we've already been at on these names to try to get back in these squeezes. 95, 96, whatever. But I'm not going to cover it on all these names after a big drop. We can likely see some continuation before running into these zones I keep covering. GS dumping down to 290. Next up 288.5. That recent low. 285 psych level. 280 where the third Keltner sits. And a big key level at 275 if we keep on slipping. JPM going to be opening near this recent, yesterday's low, which is low of a year. So next stop, psych level 100, and that third Keltner around 98.5-ish, or 99. Meta, already past third Keltner, next stop, psych level 120, 117.5, 115. Microsoft. Dumping down. Next stop, that 215 if we start to give out 218. And then 210 psych level 208 after that. We are at third Keltner. It looks like we're a little past third Keltner, so like I've said on other names, we could be getting oversold. Netflix up and down to 211. Next stop 206.5, 205, where that second Keltner sits. Come on. Psych level 200 and third Keltner at 195-ish. But we are at the bottom of a big 2-day and 1-day squeeze. So we could find our support at that 205, that second Keltner, in the middle of the squeeze, and start to work our way back up if, any market hits any of these zones I've mentioned and starts to find buyers. Nvidia. Down to the psych level 110. Next stop 108.5, where that third Keltner sits. 105. Next psych level. QQQ. Down past third Keltner to 255. Next stop's 252, 250. If we do keep slipping. Let's see what Snow's doing in all this. Holding up 150. At that second Keltner, if it keeps slipping, that 145, 140 where the third Keltner sits. But at the bottom of a 2-day squeeze. So could find some support around this 150, 145. Gap has been filled and was resistance. Could be an interesting setup on Snow. Upside or downside. SPX. Going to be gapping down 75. So going to be near 3,500. Oh my. Let's try and zoom in a little. If we start to slip 3,500, I have two levels stacked on each other for some reason at around 3480, and then 3452, 47, 39, yada yada. If we do keep slipping, if we do see a cover pop, watch this 3523, and 35.45-ish as well. If we do see any kind of cover pop, it might reject one of those two before coming down and fully taking out 3,500, 34.80. SPY. Down below 350. I'm sure if you go look at the 350s yesterday, they were holding beast, holding beast. So, be something interesting for folks to check out. If we keep slipping, we've got third Keltner here around 348. Psych level 345 and 340 next on SPY. Tesla, where'd you land? 208, not bad. 200, big key level of support. So if we keep slipping, going to 200, and definitely want to keep an eye on what happens around there. We could see some buyers start to step in, which they haven't really been doing. It's just been slipping like every day. So 200 has been a big key point I've been waiting to see if we get to on Tesla to start thinking about playing her back up. UVXY. Shooting up to highs, arriving at the daily 200. So when we talk about a cover pop or bounce today, it could be because the UVXY cannot get through these squeeze tops and this daily 200, which sits around 13.8, psych level of 14 as well. It could pop up to 14 as we get a little continuation for new lows. We could reject 14, get back below this 200, which would lend to a cover pop. Just talking about technicals on things as well, right? We're getting past third Keltner on a lot of things, which is getting into oversold territory. We have gone down, 6 days in a row now, and UVXY is arriving at something big like the daily 200. So we could see a little rejection there. But if we do get through, next stop would be third Keltner to the upside, which is getting to overbought territory on UVXY at about that 14.6. So again, a couple of key things here that could cause a rejection and roll back, and a little cover pop or rally in the market. And VIX as well. Oh, really? I would have expected a little more out of you, VIX. I would have expected it way up here. Interesting. VIX trying to stay under 33.5. If we're going to see more downside, VIX was going to clear that 33.5, 34, which was kind of the resistance yesterday, and get up to this 35, 35.3, which again isn't getting to the extremes of VIX. And we're also at second Keltner. Third Keltner sitting up, look at that, at the next key zone on VIX. If VIX clears 35.3, it's up to 37, third Keltner. So again, a couple things that VIX could reject. Kind of surprised to see it acting like this. Let's double check on like VXX. That looks a little bit more like it. So on something like VXX, which, we don't track that often, but just like we talked about on UVXY, approaching the daily 200 and some big key levels where we usually pivot. So if we're going to see more downside, we'll see this pump up to about 22.5, 23, and past that 23.3 where the third Keltner sits. We are at the top of a 2-day squeeze as well here on VXX. So, keep an eye on this as well today with VIX, because VIX is acting strange, but this is acting kind of normal, what you would expect on a big drop like this. So, well, let's see if it gets up to that 22.5. If it rejects 22 and starts to roll back to 21.5, we could see some of that cover pop, like we've been talking about. ES approaching 3,500, and we're already starting to see some bounces. So keep an eye on that 35.41 in the middle of our outer shaded region. Could be what we fight back to before rolling over. If we get above it and turn it to support, then we're going to try to get to that 35.71 previous low of year, where we could again reject and roll back. So keep an open mind today. Don't be biased. Don't be just looking to short, because so many people who did not swing puts are going to be doing the same. There might be some profit taking, some covering, a little pop. You know, we want to try to short at key levels, not as it's just rising. We want to let it hit a key level, start to reject, come back and retest and reject again. And then you get in short, and if it breaks over the key level, you get out quickly because it's not where we're going to reject. So keep it tight today. Good luck today. Ooh, nice. Looks like a couple of people selling some puts. So congrats on those. And today is Thursday, where you get to come in and test out our tool. I hope that the market gives us some good legs today so that we can at least, for the free folks, get to see that tool working out. But it should work on all your options charts for today for all the tickers that I cover in my list. So good luck today, everybody. Hope everyone enjoys a free day. If you're new to predicted trades, definitely come check us out. There's a link to join our Discord in the description of this video, link to our website, and we offer an amazing system that gives us guidance and a roadmap every day. One thing to note for the experienced users, even though we are outside of the range on ES today, these levels can still come into play, and we still have SPYs and Qs and the roadmap that will be laid out like we had yesterday, where we stayed in between our buy and sell zone all day, so we knew where to pivot long and pivot short. On SPYs and Qs, once we open, we will have a clear roadmap based on that open. On futures, you know, it's on the overnight open, and so we're outside of the futures range, but we're going to have our key levels to play off on SPY. So we'll have our little hack that is our system available on SPY today. So if we do see a quick pop up to our sell zones, and if it aligns with key levels, you know, great spots to take risk. So good luck today, everybody. Thanks for tuning in. Don't ruin your week. You know, let's see a trend start to form and play the retest. Thanks for tuning in, and we'll see you in the chat.